Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, with news of some pretty remarkable changes in the Chinese housing markets in 2017. Firstly, however, the overnight dairy auction brought little change in prices. Overall, the 22,000 tonnes sold went for prices that were just 0.6% higher. Whole milk powder price was 0.1% lower. These changes were less than the NZX derivatives market signalled. And worse, in New Zealand dollars, they represent a 2.9% fall from the previous auction. In fact, in New Zealand dollars, we are now down 7% since the start of 2017, which is not a good way to begin the year. In US dollars, the 2017 drop was less at 3.3%. The rising New Zealand dollar isn't helping the dairy industry returns. A new report from China shows that nearly half of all people with assets worth more than $2 million consider overseas properties their most important means of investment. That's a group of more than 1.3 million people, according to the data in the report, but it is growing quickly, up more than 10% in a year. On average, this group has 2.3 overseas houses each, and almost 16% of them own at least 4 each. Over half of the properties they bought were to gain access to desired school districts for their children's education. Hedging against risks was the other main motivation. Of the top cities signalled out in the study, Auckland and Wellington were number 2 and number 3 for overseas housing investment returns. Actually, Hamilton beat both in their All-City House Price Index growth ranking. This may get a new boost because of some sudden and large falls in local Chinese housing markets. Following tougher house buying rules, property sales in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou and Shenzhen declined 22% and 5% in the first week in 2017 alone. In a wider range of cities, transaction volume slumped an eye-watering 84% from a month earlier, and there was no new housing supply in first-tier cities, the data showed. In the UK, their Prime Minister set out details of a clean and clear exit from the EU. She has chosen an all-out policy with the aim to be extracted as soon as possible. Article 15 will be invoked by the end of March, apparently. There will be some severe consequences for both parties. In New York, the US Treasury 10-year yield is much lower today, and now down to 2.34%. This fall is sure to resonate in local wholesale interest rate swap markets. As the reality of the Trump inauguration gets closer, markets are losing steam. Just how much the group of self-interested billionaires are in charge now is reflected in the Trump advisor Scaramucci doing personal deals with sanctioned Kremlin money funds in Davos. It's open season, with this group of insiders convinced laws no longer apply to them. It's a worrying development. Oil prices are essentially unchanged today, now still at $52.50 for the US benchmark, while the Brent benchmark is now on $55.50 a barrel. The gold price is up another $9 and now at $1,211 an ounce. And the New Zealand dollar has also risen overnight by almost 1 cent. It's now at 71.9 US cents, approaching a 2-month high. On the cross rates, it's firmer as well at 95.2 Aussie cents, and against the euro, it's 67.2 euro cents. The TWI is at 77.4. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.